Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the DiceHate Podcast. I'm your host Kris Sheriff. Joining me today is Luke. So hi Luke.
Hi Kris.
Yeah.
Hi everybody.
Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to not be in the bar in the hotel or whatever and join us.
It's a costly sacrifice. I am neither on the phone to my wife or drinking alcohol to be with you, a guy I met on the internet. So yeah.
Well, I didn't promise you candies or anything, so I'm sure it'll be okay.
It's just implied.
Yeah, at some point I will send you some candy. It will be fine. Well, yeah, it's good to talk to you again. It's been a while now. I think we were early January the last time we chatted. So.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a while. Although I haven't really done a lot of X-Wing since then. Well, no, that's not true. I went to one tournament, stole your list, which I know we're going to talk about in a minute. But it's much more. It's still sort of house stuff for me in terms of moving and unpacking stuff. So that's kind of why I've been a bit restricted on my availability, really.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I've been keeping busy. We did record some Blood Bowl stuff as well for our other podcast with the guys from Nova Squadron Radio. So that's been fun. I've still been busy with Nova Squadron Radio as well. So I keep my fingers in the X-Wing pie and as many other ones as I can. So, I know we are on a little bit of a time frame, so I'll move us right on to flight deck / regionals chatter, because I've played in one, so I'll go through how that went. So I took the variation on the Scum toolbox list I'd been working on, so anyone who watches the DiceHate YouTube channel will have seen that already, and has probably heard me talk about this already, but for people just on the podcast, it was a Sarge Ventress with push for limits, Lats Razzie, Black Market Slicer tools and engine upgrade, and then a Bosk with Veteran Instincts, Mangler Cannon, Homing Missile, Forlom, Zuckuss, K4, Burnout Slam and Guidance Chips. So I'd designed it to make Bosk as tempting a target as possible, making sure he was the bigger investment of points, has a good amount of consistent damage after he's done his Alpha Strike, having the Mangler Cannon. And,
Sorry.
It's okay.
Sneezes.
I'll edit it out of the podcast, but people can watch you do that on the video.
Thanks.
It's okay. So it's been pretty good. I really enjoyed flying it. I think that iteration of the list didn't hit the table until game 1 of the regionals, and I went 5-1 in the Swiss. I probably should have gone 6-1, but I got extremely confident with my round 5 matchup, and overcommitted Bosk, confident that I could get a target lock on Omega Leader, and Patrick, the guy I was playing, did the one move that was open to him is what he dialed in, and it's a really good. I should have known he was going to do it, but I gave him that out, which then let him come in and get the target lock on me. So it just went downhill from there, and it was fine. He was 6-0 on the day. I was the bottom of the 5-1s because my terrible MOV through being bad. But
yeah, it ships a lot of MOV, that list, I guess, because it's basically Bosk is always going to die.
Yeah.
Well, not always.
Well, if you fall on to try and guarantee some damage through, when you're if you don't kill the guy, you fly off a table in 2 turns. And when you forget the guy you're trying to shoot at has a hull upgrade.
Things like that.
Yeah.
I picked it up and 100-0'd someone with it a couple of weeks ago. But
it's definitely got that potential. It's good. It's really good. I like it into pretty much everything in the current meta. I'd take it into Paratani pretty happily. I know that's been all of the rage over in the UK.
Yeah, Paratani's very big here.
Yeah,
and I think Ventress is better than Ketsu in that matchup, and that's why I'd want to take it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the PS9 with a 2-point bid helps you against Paratani. I don't think Fenro can stand up to this Bosk. And then once Fen's dead, there's not much else to it, really.
Yeah.
So
my question would be Burnout, Slam, and Zuckuss.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only, like, in terms of batting that list backwards and forwards with the guys I play with almost consistently, and that's the one thing they say is, do these two things interact well enough to, you know, would inertial dampeners be better? But it's much more predictable. That's probably mine.
I've had this comment a lot when I've been talking this list up.
Yeah,
and
I bet.
I have one of two ways of using Burnout Slam. The first way I use it is in the early game, because I will show you the back end of Bosk to make you chase him. And will position in such a way that I'm going to be around before you've actually shot at him. But with a 3 hard and a 3 hard, because I'm relatively good at judging his path through the rocks. So if you come in to try and get behind him early because you think I'm stupid, then the Burnout Slam's used before Zuckuss has had a chance to be used. And I've now got Bosk behind you and Ventress already swirling on you or doing whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just all about the positioning. The other way is that when you're actually shooting someone with a homing missile Bosk shot with K4 giving you a target lock focus token, full on locking down a token, the homing missile locking down another token, you tend not to need to use Zuckuss a lot in that shot.
Yeah.
So you kill something in that turn, maybe use 1 or 2 stress from Zuckuss to facilitate that.
Yeah.
So that's only 2 stress. Just don't use Zuckuss the next round, and then you can do the 3 forwards, which still clears your stress.
Yeah.
The 3,
and still gets you a target lock because it's K4.
Yeah. So you spend 1 more turn in the fight where you do a 1 forwards or whatever, bumping. It doesn't really matter. As long as it's green, you purposely bump, whatever. Get your target lock again, shoot out of the side arc. And that's what I find out. People avoid the mango cannon because it's Bosk and it's terrifying. So you get to force bump things and shoot out the side of the 666.
Yeah.
And that clears 1 stress. The 3 forwards being green will clear another Zuckuss stress, and that opens up the Burnout Slam.
So come back around.
Yeah, and because they think that you're going to be there for a while, they'll pile, maybe 5, 6, 7 damage onto Bosk, and then you Burnout Slam them away with a 3 forwards and a 3 bank. Suddenly he's not getting shot anymore. They have to switch to Ventress, who's had 2 or 3 turns piling stress onto something that you weren't shooting at.
Yeah.
And then the matchup's over that way as well.
Yeah.
So that I play it in a very Armada-esque style. Anyone who listens to the Intensify Forward Firepower podcast, they talk about your hull on the different Star Destroyers being a resource you can spend. And that's exactly how I treat Bosk. I will spend his shields and his hull, knowing that I can Burnout Slam him away for the position, and that's why I give up a lot of MOV. But it doesn't matter if I win by 1 point, as long as I win all 6 games.
As long as you,
So that's the theory. That's why I like it. I think it's a lot more versatile than just having engine, and lets me have that 2-point initiative bid as well. So
the only thing I wonder how valuable. So I've been looking at. You know, I know you talked on the Should I Fly It about clusters versus homing missiles and the interaction there. If you put clusters on and then low trade Burnout Slam for Glitter Stim, your damage potential goes up quite a lot, but your playstyle is then very different, and then you are basically giving into the fact that Bosk dies after the first joust.
Yeah, so I definitely think that inertial dampeners is the correct option if you are using clusters, because you can trick people into being at range 1 of you. You've got a lot more options because it's revealed after dial as well, so you can dial in the 1 bank in the direction you think they're going to go, And then if you're wrong, you can inertial dampeners, and your arc's pretty big. The way that needs to work though is you need to get your target lock the round before. Yeah. But that's one of the cases. I know you were talking before we started recording about having Dengar instead of K4.
Yeah.
But the one that I found most successful on the day out of the cluster missiles was having Bosk and K4 and Zuckuss dropping 4 on. So that you have to spend the target lock for clusters, but you're still getting modified shots. And it's normally re-rolling 2 dice in the current meta. There's not many people flying generics.
Yeah. I see, that's one of the things I was umming and ahhing with that. Like, what's the best? But how do you trade off the party bus crew? But then Dengar and K4 are 3 points, whereas Forlom is 1, and all of that sort of thing. But I think then you're really starting to get down to the second or third level of list creation, beyond just the sort of these two work well together if I do this. It's then much more sort of, I want to do specifically this in this way, which is when you start to get into being a better player. I think that's one of the things that I've developed in. I can see that I'm better at in the past year and a half, is not just, oh well, I'll run this like this because that's everybody else does it. I'll run this like this because that's how it works for me. That's how I get the best out of it.
Yeah, and that's why the question of the burnout SAM specifically with Zuckuss is one that people don't get, but it works for me in this specific build. I wouldn't say that you can drop this Bosk into a different, like this Bosk with a Ketsu wouldn't work. This Bosk with a Dengar wouldn't work. It works for me in this specific style. So I don't know, it's a shame I didn't get to play any of these stream games because I didn't really want to. I've got enough pressure. And it was pretty good. I went 5-1 on the day. I was the bottom of the 5-1s because of my MLV, but I didn't really feel too threatened in any of the games. I played pretty every meta matchup. I didn't play against Commonwealth defenders. There was only one person running them, and he won the event overall. So Aaron did a really good job there. He managed to
Surely
avoid.
Everybody else had tooled up to beat him.
As I said, there were 6 Bosk and some kind of Lancer lists, all designed to take out defenders in one way or another.
Good for him.
And he didn't hit them in the Swiss. He beat some really good players. I mean, Paul LaRue was in the top 8 with us as well.
Nice.
He was 3rd in the recent Chicago regionals. That was,
I saw on Instagram that he'd done quite well at Chicago.
In the Swiss. But
sorry, that's a picture social media thing, Kris.
That I have but don't use.
That one. Yeah.
I made it for the podcast and a DiceHate, and I'm too old, Luke. I can't get down with the kids with all of his social medias. So I'm getting there. I'm getting a little bit better. I take photographs of stuff and then don't put them on Instagram.
Yeah, well, that's one step nearer.
I mean, I suppose all of those stupid drawings I've been doing and putting on Facebook, I should be putting on Instagram as well.
Well, if you want to get really tech savvy, what you do is you get an app that posts it on both.
It sounds like work.
It's like super lazy way of doing it. That's what my Twitter feed is now. Sorry, this is a complete derail.
That's fine.
So yeah.
We'll let you get into any event you've been at.
So I went to a 16-person, what turned out to be double store champs kit, because they had the summer kit from last year and the current kit, which was great in terms of prize support. It was at Wayland's Forge in Birmingham. I did not write this down, but I can now exclusively reveal that I remembered that it was at Wayland's Forge in Birmingham, which is the centre of the UK. And I ran your list.
Well,
I just
it's the centre of
plagiarised your
England.
list. Centre of, yeah.
You know, come on.
It's the middle west bit.
I lived in Scotland for a long time, and you can't say it's the centre of the UK. That shit won't fly. You're just, I don't know. The jocks will be invading, man. You can't do it.
Do they? Yeah. Well, let's move on. I ripped your list off and ran your list basically. We had a little conversation on about kind of setups and whatever. And I really liked it. I thought it was. Part of the reason I ran it was I have both of these big ships that I bought, and I don't get a lot of X-wing game time in. I really want to fly the damn things, and this list looks like it might actually work. I can remember somebody saying a long time ago the 666 is feels a little bit like it's waiting for other stuff to come out to make it good.
Did you actually know that was me when it said that? Or you...
No, I assumed it was Paul Heaver, but if it was you, that's fine. It was on Nova Squadron. It blurs into one because the episodes are so long. It's going to kill me.
Like Ed listens to our garbage, come on.
Yeah, it's true. And I really liked it. I went 3-1. I lost my final game, so I could have won the whole thing, and I lost it on because I got the rules wrong on the interaction between push the limit and black market slicer tools.
You slicer tools first and push into.
No, I slicer tools second, which you can't do.
Yeah, that's cheating.
Yeah. So we rectified that, but it meant that then the crit, because of where the damage cards were pulled in the order that they were in the deck, the one that then became the crit that I scored in the shooting phase, this is against Ryad, and I only have Ventress less, wasn't Blinded Pilot. It's the last round. It wasn't Blinded Pilot. I then spent my focus token, and Ryad hammers me beyond half points and wins. So that was a bit annoying, but at least I learnt.
One, you don't focus. You take the evade once you're 1-on-1. You take the evade, and then Watts putting stress onto her, so that you're stopping 2 damage before any dice results are even rolled.
Yes. So I learnt a couple of things there, and I came second. I was pleased with that. I got a Ketsu card. I got the tractor beam. I think I got more tractor beam tokens than I would have if it had just been the normal kit. I got 3, which is cool. I'm glad I learnt that at a kind of more casual store champs or store kit than the top 4. If I somehow make a top 4 cut at regionals.
It's like you don't want to be at the final tables of a regional and realise that if you're sloppy with your manoeuvres, you might fly off a table, even just doing straights, stuff like that.
Yeah, I nearly flew off. Why did you do that?
No, it was a veiled reference to some controversy this past weekend. So.
Okay.
If you don't know, you're better for it.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I've kind of been in a bit of under an internet rock. So I'm glad I learned that way. But there we are. But it's a good list. I like it. And a similar version without any missiles. Won a UK regional at Warball on the first weekend in February. I don't know when this will air.
I think it'll go up today, probably,
okay.
Maybe. So I think if I wasn't going to take missiles, I could be persuaded to take Ketsu and go really offensive with it. Just go range 1, so I'm into stuff, and just really try and hurt people. I did see a really interesting Ketsu at the tournament I ran last night. Was Ketsu with EMP device, and just really, because you want to be into range 1 of people anyway, and you've got 2 illicits on it, so
I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
And literally it was Ketsu with 2 Sikhs, with Manglers.
Yeah.
And the game I watched was against a Upsilon with Kylo Shenanigans doing Kylo Crew doing Kylo ship, trying to put the blinded pilot on people, and then it was a Kenkirk. No, it was a Rear Admiral Shirinu. In fact, I think one of them. It was a pimped out Decimator.
Yeah.
And he got in, traded fire with Decimator. So Decimator moves in really aggressively to get some range 1 shots, because what are you going to do? Tractor beam with Decimator. And then he goes, okay, well, I'm not going to shoot you. I'm going to EMP device. And now you're going to be too close to a table edge next turn to... So it properly baited him in, putting loads of fire into this thing. Lost a seek, and but it positioned everything else, or it was just going to be behind the shuttle. Yeah. So it didn't matter. So, no, it was really. That's good.
Amazing. Yeah.
Especially because I don't know what it's like in the UK at the moment, but Calgary especially has always loved its large base ships. And EMP device against large bases can be really funny, especially if you can put like salvage crane onto. In fact, that was the one. Salvage crane doesn't work on EMP device, but it does work on stealth device. So
I saw that.
It had Ketsu agility 3 as well, and then the salvage crane to bring the stealth device back. So yeah.
And there's a lot you could do in terms of using EMP to repin stuff in front of Ketsu and then lift them off with a tractor beam and
hammer them again.
Yeah.
It's really good, especially title on there as well. So you tractor beaming them and then again, and it's good fun. And that segues us nicely into Wave 10, I think, talking about EMP device. So I've done a few videos already looking at like mainly stupid lists for Wave 10. One that I really like and think is massively competitive, but the internet will hate because it doesn't just...
Does it have Major Rhymer in it?
No, this is my Jakku Gunrunner and Torkil Mux list. But,
I saw that. So was it 2 Hawks? Well, go on, you talk about it.
So it is a Torkil Mux with twin laser turret and intel agent. He's at 26 points. Then we have a contracted scout with hotshot co-pilot, EMP device, trick shot, and anti-pursuit lasers for 33 points. A spice runner with twin laser turret and Greedo, and then a Jakku gunrunner with Ketsu, crew, and space tug tractor array.
Okay. Yeah.
And basically, it's 2 PS3 ships and a PS1 ship, 2 TLTs mounted on the Hawks, and a bump master which does weirdly amazing things by obviously shooting at you first from my shots, forcing you to spend any focus tokens because of hotshot co-pilot. Still have the EMP device in case we manage to bump. I can guarantee you bump me again. Anti-pursuit lasers to try and do that damage. Trick shot so that I can do funky positionings and get... It doesn't cost me anything. I don't have any points left, so might as well. Greedo on a spice runner because it makes him a horrible threat when you have a TLT that does crits to people.
Yeah, he triggers both times as well, doesn't he?
But just the first time you do damage.
Does it? Oh no, it's the first.
First time you do damage on that attack, and TLT now counts as one attack. You just perform it again. Torkil Mux is amazing in this list. I think he's better than Paylob in this specific list because whatever you want to kill goes down to PS0. So even my gunrunner is shooting before it. And I always save a gunrunner till last because dying to a Jakku gunrunner who hasn't tractor beamed you is just embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then the gunrunner itself is in there, and that's to control the range 1 bubble. It's if you come into it, I've got a Jakku gunrunner who's going to tractor beam you back out of it and make you keep your tractor beam tokens.
Yeah.
And it's really...
And lose your agility.
Yeah, it's really hard on the positional play. You've got to be pretty on top of it, but I've got a couple of videos online of it in action, and I think it's a really strong list if you want to play X-Wing differently. It doesn't play like the current meta. It's all about controlling the territory of the board and that kind of stuff, and just grinding through people with your two TLTs. It's good, really good.
And I think I saw one of the games. Did you go against Ahsoka?
Yeah.
And basically PS0 her.
I didn't even bother because he wouldn't bring her in because I could PS0 her.
And
then my PS1 ship can shoot her, captured tie or not. But yeah, it was. I almost one-shot a K-Wing, which dies the next turn. Then the turn after that, I ripped through the U-Wing. And then the turn after that, it's just Ahsoka, who I haven't shot yet, but isn't going to do anything to my entire list.
Yeah.
So we reset and play again. So that one's a much longer game. I have to show off a lot of positional play in that. So it's really good to watch to show what I'm talking about for how you need to position the list and stuff.
Okay.
But I think it's pretty good into a lot of the current meta. It eats up large bases with the multiple TLTs and lowering the agility. It helps with the spamming focus tokens and stuff. Yeah, you're not going to have it for defense because I'll make you spend it on that 2-attack shot that isn't going to hit you anyway because I'll have barrel rolled. The contracted scout shot is hardly ever modified because I'm always positioning with it.
Yeah.
But it's awesome to roll like one hit on a 2-dice attack and then they roll triple evade and spend a focus.
Spend the focus, yeah.
Yeah. So that's been pretty good fun. So
I can see that being appealing.
From all of the Wave 10 ships, I think that quad jumper is the hardest one to build a list with because it
doesn't sit in what Scum currently. This is probably exactly what you were going to say. It doesn't sit in a lot of the existing Scum archetypes because it's a different price point.
Yeah,
that would be my take.
It's not even, it's like the play style of it as well. It doesn't have the EPTs at the price point you're looking for to do the Mind Link stuff. It can't play the Mind Link game. It doesn't play the I'm just going to punch you in the face like Bosk or Dengar does.
Yeah,
it doesn't fit the current Scum play style. So I've seen a lot of people, like one of the comments on one of my videos was just, I think that Scum players will just ignore the quad jumper this wave. So yeah, do it if you want, but I think you could challenge yourself and make yourself a better player. Try something a bit weird. I think that segues us nicely into like the captured tie, Sabine's masterpiece.
So my the first thing I want to say is it's the first time I've taken a ship out of the box and not thought I need to repaint this.
Someone's done it for you.
Yeah, someone's done it for me. And also, like, I totally can't be bothered to get the lines that straight. I'm so impressed that it's the lines are that straight, and I know they have to be, and it's a product and you're paying for it and stuff. But I'm really impressed with how it's been done. I think the paint job is really good. I might, if for some reason I have enough time on my hands, I might go over it and put a couple of washes or inks on the inside colours just to try and bring them up a bit more and make them a bit more grittier.
Yeah.
But it's the first time I've thought this looks great, and I would, if I want to paint stuff, I'll have to keep it to that level. I can't just cheap out. And
it means that if you want to paint something to match that squad, it's got to have to be really nice.
Yeah, But the thing that I've seen, I have a couple of people on, I can't remember who it was. I've seen someone on Instagram, and actually in one of the Facebook groups. It's weird because I see it on Instagram and then they post it in Facebook about 2 hours later. I'm like, oh. Repaint some of their Imperial ties, kind of with their own Rebel paint job. So not copying the captured tie paint job, but doing their own take on it. And that appeals to me. I might do that. Because that's quite easy to do.
So, have you seen or got to see X-Wing since Wave 10 came out? Or shall I just talk on my thoughts on it? Have you seen any Sabine's ties on the table yet?
I have seen my Sabine's tie on my dining room table when I took it out the box.
Okay. So yes and no. So from my experience, people are obviously looking at Ahsoka, which is obviously because it's Ahsoka and she's awesome. But I think that it's not necessarily a trap, but it's only one aspect of the ship. I think the amount of points you put into Ahsoka to give her the one bomb which you can salvage crane back type thing takes away from the rest of your list a little bit too much. I think that there's different ways of doing it which might be better. I think Captain Rex is the hidden gem of that pack. I think he's the one who will come out on top of all 4 pilots in there and may see some play, because again, it's another control element. Anything that's going to reduce offense, especially if we're getting into a meta that's looking like having hotshot co-pilot gunner ships around with Vader crew on decimators and stuff like that. Anything where you can just reduce that offense a little bit, like get Captain Rex to take pot shots there.
You could do really abusive stuff with. So I was trying to figure out, because is he PS4? Is it?
Yeah, it's PS4.
If you put him with Biggs, but then you put him with something that's a higher pilot skill with Swarm Leader. Is it Swarm Leader or Swarm Tactics? So that he shoots early on in the combat phase. But then you have to shoot big. That's the way you'd want to sort of start to try and manipulate it. And then you've got something else with draw their fire and R2D2 taking the crits off Biggs, and that's where it'd start to get.
So I mean, there's lots of different ways of doing it. Like you can go all out and have Kanan pilot. And like, okay, you have to shoot Biggs, but you're now on getting 1 dice. And I've just really obnoxious stuff like that.
That's really obnoxious.
I mean, that's taking the gimmick to the nth degree type thing. But I think there's scope for that kind of. I mean, hell, Biggs and Kanan was working before anyway. So making it better doesn't exactly worry me much. Then where else are we? We have stuff like Zeb, I think, is a better. This is now, you've got to put yourself in the mindset of that scum list we just spoke about, where it's going to be about board control. And I don't have a finalised list for this yet, but if we follow through the logic of Torkil Mux taking someone down to 0, you could have a captured tie Zeb at PS3, who's actually PS12 in the combat phase, so can never be shot by anything. And that's still
because he's
Rourke puts him to 12. And that's going to be cheaper for the tie than doing it with Ahsoka. But you've got to take Rourke, which means you're putting a TLT on there. Then you could do a stress hog, and you start getting into like Paul Heaver's list from 2 years ago, that kind of control style. And I don't think stress control is as strong as it was, but stress and ion control with still a decent-ish amount of points left over for your 4th ship. So I think
I can see that working.
You could. I think there's a list there. I don't know what it is yet. I haven't put any effort into thinking beyond that combo, but I definitely think there's scope in there. I think Captain Rex isn't my favourite because Ahsoka will always be my favourite. But I think he might be the hidden gem of
Sleeper
that pack.
hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not that bothered by Sabine. I think Sabine is much better in the attack shuttle.
I think
Like,
it does.
I'm just waiting for her to be.
Does... Sorry, go on.
Sorry. Oh well, I'm just waiting for her to be boost or barrel roll in a decimator because she's in every other ship.
One. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imperial Sabine when she was still at the academy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that her ability is wasted on the TIE because in fact, I might as well talk about it here because I don't think I've spoken to you about this one yet. But one of the lists I played against at regionals was a Fat Ray with a Sabine with TLT, hull upgrade. This is the one where I fall-armed myself off a table, so I forgot that Sabine had the hull upgrade. But
why would you put a hull upgrade?
You've got Chewbacca as well. 7 hull, about 7 hit points on that ship.
Oh, what you're talking about the attack shuttle?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about putting a hull upgrade on a TIE fighter.
The TIE wasn't out yet. So the attack shuttle with TLT, Predator, Chewbacca crew.
Really strong. Yeah, I really like it with Predator.
Because people, and he said people doing it all day, looking at it, right, going to just kill this attack. I'll kill this attack shuttle quickly, and then move on to Rey. It's like, will you really? When this thing is going to boost and then barrel roll to be at range 3 of you, if you get those lucky hits, it's just it does a lot.
Yeah, definitely better in the attack shuttle.
Yeah. So I think she's wasted in the TIE.
Yeah.
Even if you're going to put 0 upgrades on her, you're playing it for a positional game. So I'd much rather have a 3 dice attack than a 2 dice attack if I'm trying to outfly you. So that's my thoughts on Sabine. Unfortunately, better in the attack shuttle.
Yeah, totally agree.
And then finally, I suppose we can talk about the Upsilon.
Yes. Kylo Ren crew can be both, for me, the start and end of this conversation. Kylo Ren crew on, is it Shiranu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rear Admiral Shiranu. Shiranu, if you used to watch like Reeves and
Mortimer.
Yeah.
And then you can go up to PS10.
Yeah.
And just like that's the one thing I'm looking at that thinking, oh, flipping out, I'm going to regionals at the weekend. I don't know how I deal with that. Like I can't get up to P on the stuff that I'm thinking about flying. It doesn't go up to PS10 if I want it. It goes up to 8 or 9. And if he doesn't like the way, if he or she doesn't like my list, they're just going to stop me shooting with it and beat me.
So they'll do it twice.
Yeah.
So the thing you have to be able to do, I think I was talking about playing against the new Zinch stuff in Warhammer, in Age of Sigmar, and they've got this, so this is a bit of a tangent, but they've got this weird mechanic where you roll 9 dice before the game started, and then you put those 9 dice aside, and you can substitute those dice rolls for any other dice roll. So you've got 9 predetermined dice before you start.
Yeah.
And like you can use them for anything. So I need this. I need a 6 to hit. Well, I've got a 6 here. Done.
Yeah.
It's that kind of predetermined. Yeah, it's going to be bad for the first 2 turns because you know exactly what's coming, but your opponent knows what's coming as well. So you've just got to okay, he's going to blindly power me, so I'm going to play. Not to have the shot anyway. I'm going to position. So, change your approaches up. You can't, again, I think Wave 10 is all about playing the game differently. You can't play X-Wing the way we used to in Wave 4 in Wave 10. It's a very different game. Kylo's really strong. Kylo Crew is better than Kylo Pilot because of the amount of control you have over where that condition goes.
Yeah.
It's easier to play around Kylo Pilot. I wanted to quickly mention I did Terrence, who's appeared on the podcast before and talked to me with some other stuff. I did dare him to do an Omega Race Godshot list before the FFG article came out, so we're waiting for this stuff to get released so that he could take it. And he took it to a tournament last night and took first place undefeated with I think he got 200-0 wins.
This with a deploying range 2 BAM sort of thing. Yeah,
he did it that way. I think we were talking about there's better ways to actually build the list for a longer game. But he said out of the 3 games we played, he managed to pull with 4 crits off 4 or 5 times. So swarm leadering 4 crits onto stuff. And do you know how Hyperwave Comm Scanner works? If you have multiples of them?
With the,
So the last ship to deploy, who doesn't need to have, so it was, I want to say Zeta Ace or Epsilon Ace, whichever one is one that's normally PS12 until we've taken damage.
Yeah.
So that one deploys last and didn't need to pay for a Hyperwave Comm Scanner and can start with 3 evade tokens. Because it deploys within range of every other Hyperwave Comm Scanner.
Yeah.
And the entire list deploys at PS12, so it knows exactly where you are. So turn 1, you're taking 4 crits. So it's good.
No wonder he came first.
Yeah. And he had General Hooks as well. So I said I wanted to talk about General Hooks and big him up a little bit more, because people have been telling me I'm wrong, and I'm definitely confident that
you're right.
I'm right. I'm definitely right. General Hooks is going to be amazing. Maybe not now.
Maybe not ever.
But people told me Palpatine was too expensive when he came out, and I said he was good.
Showed them.
I didn't show. I'm terrible. But people then were like, I'm going to try Palpatine. I said Palpatine was good, but I said he was better on Kenkirk than on the shuttle, because I didn't think you would get the value out of the shuttle.
Yeah.
And then I proceeded to take the shuttle with Palpatine to Worlds and did okay. And I'm terrible, so that's like doing good. I think it was 5 and 3. But,
that's pretty good. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. I was so close to 6 and 2. So close.
Yeah, I remember the episode.
Yeah, stupid Corran Horn. And just
so how is General Hux?
So the people are
the new Palpatine.
It's cheaper and only takes 1 crew slot for a start.
Right.
It isn't cheap enough to go onto a TIE shuttle. If you could put this guy, if he was 4 points, the game is just broken, and Palpatine would not be seen ever again, because TIE shuttle hooks would just destroy the entire world. That's how good I think he is.
Okay, but, big statement.
Being able to put him, even if you go for a Lambda, which I don't know if you need to go to the Upsilon. I've not got enough table time in with him to be definitive on these opinions yet.
Yeah.
But the fact that you get to play around where the focus tokens go, so you're getting 3 actions for the cost of 1 action at the penalty of a stress. What do you do? If you can't clear a stress off your shuttle, it's
fly there.
Yeah. And then that's without taking into account the condition card it gets to put out. So 3 actions for 1 is good. Being able to put out the potential to be Wampa from any angle, any shot.
You choose.
Yeah, you choose where that condition goes. And then people argue back to me that, you can't spend a focus token on defense. It's okay, I pick the TIE fighter that's behind you. You can't shoot that one. Or
Yeah.
Or okay, you've got a turret, so I picked this TIE fighter this turn, so you shot at it and it didn't die. You know which TIE fighter I'm not picking next turn?
That one.
The same one. Yeah.
Yeah. So then it comes, but then it comes down to pilot skill and confidence and practice, doesn't it? Like, whereas Palpatine is easier to. It's just kind of. So this dice is now what I want it to be, which.
So Palpatine is one dice is what I want it to be. So if you value that, normally it's going to be a green dice. Where people get the most value is playing Palpatine defensively because it keeps your ships on the table. So if I told you that you could take an evade action with everybody, which is effectively adding in a green dice, which you wouldn't otherwise have because you'd have to take the focus action.
Yeah. And I can see a point.
That isn't faultless logic. That's obviously a very skewed argument, which I'm deliberately making because it bolsters my position.
You surprised me. I thought you were always impartial.
No, I'm trying to convince people that Hux is good, man. But
you want to submarine with him? That's what you want to do.
No, I don't need to fly him under a radar because it won't be long. People will.
He's so awesome.
Oh. The other thing, so
also isn't that's one of the Weasley twins, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, just as a kind of like different world reference, which is great. So it's almost magical.
Yeah, well, it is. It's magic. The way I also like it is if I'm planning on putting him on the Upsilon, put the condition on yourself. Because
you don't care.
You've got a 4 dice attack, so I'm more likely to roll a focus result.
On offense.
You want to be shooting at range 3 anyway, because you want to be slowly approaching the battle. You don't want to be at range 1 and blasting through it and then not shooting again. So you get it. It's like, oh, what's that? You've got your. I was going to say Fel, but let's be honest, it's Fenro now. At range 3. Oh well, I hit him anyway. Or if it is Fel or a Kurnoz is becoming relatively popular.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, there goes your stealth device.
Yeah.
Because you've been hit, can't cancel this one.
Yeah.
So
Karnor would presumably be quite a hard counter to Hux.
So I'm glad you. I set it up for you to pick up on that. You know what the last.
You're very welcome.
That Terrence beat. It was Rear Admiral Shiranu with the new hotness that is Hotshot Co-Pilot. Vader and Gunner and a Karnor Jax, and he still just smashed it. What are you going to do? It's like, well, Swarm Leader.
In that list you've got enough going on to sort of.
Yeah, Swarm Leader is remove an evade token, not spend. So as long as you can establish them before Karnor gets there, you're getting the 4 dice shot from him. Obviously, you can't then spend your focus to modify it to all crits, but you're still rolling 4 dice at Karnor. You've got the fact that any shot you do that's going to be at range 2 or 3 is where you put the Fanatical Devotion, because then you're hitting Karnor if you roll a focus result, because you can't cancel it.
Yeah.
And the damage it does isn't actually like Vader will crit something off the table, but you can't afford to Vader too many times against that kind of list. It's not like you're flying against the 2-ship list or the other ship is irrelevant type list.
It's death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, it works really well. So
but
I suppose we can talk about Hotshot Co-Pilot and Vader Gunner as well, I suppose, seeing as I think that's going to be a big thing. Yeah, so we'll call that Wave 10 done. So we're going to have to wrap the show up soon anyway. But I didn't want to not touch on Shiranu, Hotshot Co-Pilot, Gunner, Vader. And get your thoughts
I think
on
Wave
that.
10 has reinvigorated. I mean, not that it really ever went away, but it's reinvigorated your options for crew on the Decimator. Almost the whatever you call the Imperial version of a party bus, the conference limo.
It's the Doom Boat. Is
the Doom Boat.
Yeah. Because it hits hard and it doesn't stop hitting you.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Doom Lobster. I've seen one painted up like a lobster somewhere on YouTube.
Pinchy.
Yeah. Yeah, the interaction between those three is pretty good. It'll really hurt. It's the consistency of it continuing to really hurt.
Do you think Paratani could beat that?
Specifically with the Khan or Jax one?
Well, that with anything.
I don't know, because there's a lot of hull on a Decimator to chew through. I think if you're the Decimator player, you get rid... Well, do you? You go after Manaru, maybe? It's always the right option to go after Manaru.
I would just kill Fenrir turn when, like, the second range.
Get rid of him straight away, do you think? I think it would be a tough matchup.
The problem is, I think that in that matchup, I would rather Fen shoot me first to make him want to spend one of his focuses. But
yeah, so then you get rid of the other one.
But as it goes either way, if you're PS10 and want to shoot at Fenrir, he will just, okay, there's one focus token gone. Did I actually hit you? No. Okay, I'll shoot you again. Oh, I'm going to Vader you. Now I'm going to shoot you again. And you trade half points on the Decimator to kill Fenrir.
Yeah.
Then you've got half a ship, which is equivalent to a Manaru. Half a rack is still better than a Manaru. And then you've got whatever your second ship is against.
Yeah.
Right. And then,
and if you've got... So I suppose the thing is, if you've taken something that doesn't like stress... then you're looking at Ventress going, I don't know that I match up well there.
Yeah.
So push the limit Ryab with 2 stress on her isn't great, or it's stopping you from pushing.
Yeah.
Whisper.
Oh, you can't take amazing. Whisper. I don't even think you have the points for Whisper if you're going.
Oh, right, okay.
Co-pilot.
I haven't done the math. Yeah, so it depends what your second ship is, but I reckon you're probably in the better position.
Yeah.
Because you've got you just delete Fenrir straight away if you want to.
Yeah. And if they don't bring Fen in, you just throw everything at Ventress. Yeah. And I don't know. I think it's a good matchup for the Imperial player.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it till you mentioned it, but yeah.
I know a lot of people have been asking me about Paratani on the YouTube channel, and
it's the new hotness.
And it's not really made much of a splash over in Calgary yet. I've seen 1 or 2 people try and fly it, but not really to the level that it's obviously doing in Europe.
Yeah, I think it locked out the top 8 of Italian regionals at the weekend, or almost locked it out, bar maybe 1.
Yeah. And if it is in your meta, Rear Admiral Shuranu, VI, Gunner, Hotshot Co-Pilot, Vader, and then whatever the hell you want.
And something with Rebel Captive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Upsilon. No, don't do an Upsilon. With General Hux. Yeah. Oh.
Well, you could take an Upsilon with Rebel. What's the PS3 one that allows you to deploy forwards or deploy where you want?
Dormants.
Yeah. If you could fit him in with Rebel Captive and, I don't know, go mini Buzzsaw or something.
Yeah.
There's lots options.
There's lots of scope. I mean, take a snapshotting Major Rhymer with Tactician and really troll people. If you win with that, I might actually do that now. I'm going to have to see if I can fit that in.
This is the Major Rhymer section of our podcast.
It needs to be there. You can't avoid it. And on that note, I think I'm going to have to call it because I do need to leave for work very shortly. Well, no like 2 minutes ago, I probably should have left. Fine. So, thanks for watching / listening, everyone. Thanks to Luke for joining me again. We'll try and get together and do some more shorter videos and maybe paint something else. I don't know.
Yeah, well, what about painting up a tie our own version of a captured tie and repainting the quad jumper because they're two small ships.
I only have
those on the paint.
I like my one quad jumper. I drew a quad jumper. I don't know if I put that picture on the internet yet. It's not very good. But...
Well, you can colour that in.
Yeah.
And I will paint mine.
Let's see if I can just quickly find it to embarrass myself before we leave. You won't be able to see it because you can't. You have to watch it second hand on the YouTube channel. Yeah,
that's one of the complications about Skype is that I basically spend an hour talking to myself.
Yeah.
For all I know, you're a voice in my head, but there we go.
Yeah, there's always that option. Okay, I think I can do this. I think I can do it.
This is really good for the podcast.
Yeah, I'm just going to edit this out of the podcast.
Oh, right, okay.
Not for a video, though.
Alright, okay, so I need to pretend to be interested in something I can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That looks really good.
It doesn't, it looks terrible. I can see it, you can't. I know what it looks like. It
really reminds me of like the space version of a tugboat.
I'm still not convinced that they need a space tugboat. I don't know that friction and inertia and all of that jazz.
Oh, don't get into that ridiculousness.
I can't help it.
No one cares about that.
Oh. Okay, so I'm just going to put it right below you, and you can mock
right in my face. Which side is it? Is it this side?
It's right below you now. So if you just point straight down, yeah, there we go. People can see my awesome efforts at a quad jumper. It's got engines and then some checks and stuff. Yeah. Definitely going to make some DiceHate alternate art cards out of this one because it's so good.
You could do a really rubbish one, or if you get Paul LaRue to draw something out, you could do like an alt art version of Paul LaRue's alt art card. This is my attempt at what he drew.
I wanted to try and do some troll alt art cards, and just really bad. And unfortunately, you can almost tell that I put effort into trying to be good at this one, so it doesn't quite work. I need to not try. But yeah, so yeah, make sure you sign up to a Patreon and get some awesome, definitely not troll alternate art cards.
Yeah, alt art cards.
Yeah,
yeah. I think I'm definitely going to be painting my quad jumper, so I'm happy to talk about that. But I've got TIE fighters that I never use, so we could repaint one of them up.
I'll tell you what, you paint all of your small ships, and I actually have an Imperial Assault Regional on Saturday, so I'll paint my Imperial Assault stuff, and
okay.
And then we both painted something, so it should be fine.
Cool.
Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you again soon.
See you later.